Which brings us down to the certain organizations and outfits in the United States that are acting as foreign agents for the Israeli government. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League of Bnei B'rith, AIPAC, the largest, most influential Jewish lobby group in the United States, the Zionist Organization of America, and the list can go on and on. There's an assortment of high-powered organizations in the United States that will do anything, virtually anything, to annul any influence Muslims may have, positive influence Muslims may have in this country upon the decision-making process. Now, if we understand that we have this structure of organizations and individuals that range from the academic to the financial to the authoritative, then we have the small fries, the ones that appear to our eyes almost every evening. Individuals such as Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity and Michael Savage and Glenn Beck and the rest of these that we encounter. These are the ones who get their marching orders from this superstructure, and then they begin to present it as talking points to you and me, the consuming public. And we're supposed to believe, if we don't believe everything that they say, much of it goes down, seeps down into the conscience of the country. And if you listen to them very closely, you understand that they are defending the national interest of the Israeli nation state. Which brings us to that little effort, which is called Islamofascist Awareness Week, that was put together by a person called David Horowitz. David Horowitz belongs to this same crowd of people. Back in the 60s and 70s, the person was a lefty. He was on the left of the American political spectrum, and as happened to his neoconservative colleagues, he had a change of heart during the Reagan administration, so he converted from being on the political left to being on the political right, where he is today. And the person seems to know something next to nil when it comes to Islam. He has a big mouth, though. He rants on and on. Give him the opportunity and he'll speak, not much of it making much sense. So he strings together a group of individuals who are assigned different campuses, and then they blurt out their uneducated mind on things Islamic. As I said earlier, I wish they had enough intellectual integrity to have the opposite point of view presented when they were speaking, but being that they are void of that, I think we need not comment on their rants. Which brings us to, I think, the matter, the contextual core of the matter, which is the fear that is being generated in the public concerning Muslims. We as Muslims know, we who are informed Muslims know there's no basis for it. A Muslim is not a terrorist, a Muslim is not a reactionary, a Muslim is not a person who wants to drag the world back into the ages of inequity and ignorance and a primitive way of life. This is all common sense. It's even somewhat disturbing to have to speak to this issue in such a way. But there is one particular area that I want you to be aware of, because it seems like this is not going to go away soon. And that particular area is to try to antagonize the relationships in this world between Muslims and Christians. I think this is an area that's going to be worked on much more than has been the case in the past. There's going to be a lot of efforts to try to make Muslims believe that Christians are their enemies, and to make Christians believe that Muslims are their enemies. And to try to diffuse this at the source, at least from the Islamic side, I can't speak for the Christian side. I think it would have made for a very good presentation here if we had maybe an informed and enlightened Christian who could speak to this matter with objectivity. But from an Islamic point of view, let me go back to Scripture and quote for you. Of course, I can't do this in an exhaustive manner because the contents of this subject in the Quran are almost without end. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to be selective and choose some verses from the Quran. I'll quote them to you in their original Arabic wording, and then I'll also present you with the English equivalency of that meaning, being that English is the common language that we all communicate with here. The first ayah says, the first verse in the Quran says, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ أَلَّا نَعْبُدَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَلَا نُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا أَرْبَابًا مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَقُولُوا اشْهَدُوا بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ. This verse delivers the following meaning. Say, O Muhammad, and therefore the rest of you Muslims, declare the following. O people of Scripture, this is our address to those who follow the Old Testament and the New Testament. Come to a common ground between you and us, between us and you. And what is that common ground? That we shall conform to no one except God, and that we shall not equate others with God, and that none of us should overlord over others of us. This is the common grounds and the common understanding that we should develop among ourselves. But then, if you decide to relinquish or turn down this opportunity or this request, then bear witness. This is we, the Muslims, speaking to people of Scripture, to those who consider themselves Christians and those who consider themselves Jews. If you decide not to take this offer, then bear witness that we are subjects of God. We, meaning the committed Muslims, are subjects of God. Meaning, if you choose not to be subjects of God in this meaning that we just expressed to you, then the least you can do is say that we are trying our best to honor that role. That's one verse in the Quran. Now, I don't know how anyone can read any hostility or any tension or any misunderstanding between Muslims on one side and people of Scripture on the other side. That defies reason.